The biggest thing is you want to look mindset wise is to stay busy, but stay busy having conversations with people. And it's going to be a conversation of future sales, or at least you deleted that that possible dead lead.
Prospect.
So welcome. Thanks for joining us. You got your host here. My name is John. We got contracting, admin, exec, does everything. Joanne.
Hi, everyone.
So anything new with contracting? Anything new with what happened from last week from home office's standpoint?
No, nothing is new. We don't have any updates in regards to any of the new stuff. I think now that convention is around the corner, I'm sure we're going to be announcing a lot of new stuff coming up in regards to like next level contracting and maybe adding some new carriers on there. So for those of you that are going to convention, stay tuned for all of those updates there.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so convention is happening tomorrow. Well, Wednesday is the meet and greet. We have our Top Golf if you guys are going to be there. Please register on the Eventbrite. It should be on the GroupMe if you guys haven't seen it, or check your upline. But some of the managers will be leaving on Tuesday tomorrow to get there early at around 6 o'clock. So if you guys are early, let us know. We'll be pleasure meeting with anybody else, because we'll be free from 7 and on once we check into our hotel. But aside from that, let's go ahead and without further ado, please unmute if you guys have any specific questions. We can answer any array of questions you guys have as far as products, contracting, as far as field, as far as clients, as far as business, how you see yourself in FFL, where you want to go, any direction. Feel free to unmute and fire away.
Hey, John and Joanne, Jason here. So yeah, I'm about to get back into the swing of it. I'm just waiting for some something like what you call it, a payment plan with America.
Okay.
Oh, is this Jason Collins?
Yeah.
Yes. Hey,
Yeah,
hey
nice,
guys.
nice to hear from you.
I know. I recognize that voice.
I know. I was like, wait, that's Jason Collins.
We had dinner before a convention.
So like what recommendations you guys would give me? Like basically I already put in like a lead order, so I should have them, if not tomorrow, probably Wednesday. Just coming back. Like, so my mindset coming back was I had a few issues with my team, that I'll take, full responsibility for. But, now I want to focus back on just business, like, and running business myself, before I start, maybe adding more people onto the team. But, because I know a few things have changed, but, if you guys can give me a little bit of insight into that.
Gotcha. And I've been in your position before. I've been in the business for about 14, turning 15 years now. We've had situations where we left company, we joined, we had a team, they left, you're back on your own. So I would say the number one mental aspect into it, starting with you, the mental side of it is like, it's okay. You're in control and you have the ability to get to where you're at. As long as you have that, you're gravy. And then secondly, with us, the greatest thing about our company and with FFL, we have so many carriers. Chargebacks happen. You do want to clear it, but don't let that hold you back with other carriers, right? So if you have one chargeback here, you do want to have a payment plan, just like what you're having now, but don't let that take over all your commissions, because you're not in business, right? So you want to be able to still have some carriers you can write with. You got the leads going. So I would say now identify. I know, when you were in the field, you were doing more in person, right? Do you want to get into telesales now? Do you want to look into half and half, or maybe do a hybrid, or just completely do telesales? So, because what changed, I would say, in the last year, within the last year of our business, the telesales really changed a lot of people. A lot of people transferred out of that from field to doing more dialing, more calling. It saves you gas. It gives you a lot more opportunity to get in front of clients.
Saves you time.
Yes. But as far as time, you also have a lot more issues with clients where, they're scared to give you their bank account information,
their socials.
They're scared to give you their socials, all those little things. So that's the new challenge if you're going to get into telesales. So let's go and ask you about, where your head is at. Where do you feel you'll see yourself? Do you want to go back into the field? Do you want to do, I know you were doing a lot of traveling. You were doing multiple, like town runs, like 2-3 hours out. How do you see yourself now?
Well, I did do some telesales, like um, I did quite a lot of telesales. I've even done like live dials, and I had some success with the live transfers, but I had more success just doing telesales with, just having the leads and just running, a script.
Yeah.
But I just want to know what's hot, what everybody's using. So I logged in the live dials the other day, and I was able to hear JP. I think another guy. I think his name's Casey. I
Yep.
can't remember, but
Yeah.
like some of those lead vendors, like who's the ones that's good,
Uh,
in terms of leads.
Okay. Okay. So let's answer that. So the real question is, okay, so Jason's coming back in. What leads are what people are using now?
Yeah.
Right. So let's start off with multiple leads from the cost efficiency from low to high. Okay. So we have agents that are dialing outside third-party leads. There's always going to be the CRM. A lot of agents are having success with age leads. There's an age discount lead right now, 70% off because of heading into convention for age leads. I like using age lead store within my area specifically. That's because I do have a dialer. I'm able to buy cheap leads for $1.50. They're aged, they're 15 to 85 days. So within 2 weeks to up to 3 months. But I'm able to buy a lot for cheap. So I can buy 500 leads, have a dialer run through it and get me in front of the quality individuals that needs life insurance. Because at that point, you're going to run into a lot of people that like, I didn't request this. I don't remember. I don't want it anymore, or I've taken care of it. So that's the low cost CRM leads. They can run you with the discounts, $3-4. Jason Steiner on the live dials has gotten some traction with instant leads with beneficiaries and what's the other one? The real-time leads. Okay, it's called real-time leads. It's $9 off the CRM. They will create a lead platform for you, whatever comes in directly to you. Another one, what you heard some people are using, they're doing what's called the live transfer leads. Okay, so live transfer leads, they're either using all web leads, they're using Datalot, they're using EverQuote. So these lead vendors, they got a lead coming to you, but they can range on an auction price between $60 to $100 to $130. Datalot's like $80 a lead that comes in. There's also third-party vendors that people are getting into. There's this thing called Arturo Johnson Leads. So it's a third-party company. He does, Arturo Johnson's the guy's name. He specializes in Facebook marketing and he markets towards veterans. But the way he does it, he wants it where he has high-quality clients, meaning high-quality agents coming in, and it's on a month-to-month plan. So you're paying him $5,000 a month to take care of everything. He has a system, he has a place where he has dialers, he's doing the marketing, he has the dialers, he gets you all the leads, so whatever comes in with the marketing plus his cut, and however many leads comes in is yours, right? And then included on the $5,000 plan, they have, VAs dialing for you. So there's preset appointments, then you have the leads, you can call on to those as well. We're venturing into other companies. There's EOR marketing, there's prospects for agents leads. This one company is prospects for agents. Some agents are having good success on it. I just got on my first batch like last week, 2 weeks ago. Haven't got a good result yet. But they're charging $12 a lead, and it's per lead per cost basis. So it's like EverQuote where you charge your account, pay $1,200 on their website, and then they can funnel in leads Monday through Friday for you on a minimum of 5 leads a day to 10 to 20 to 30. What's great about them, they have multiple data points onto their lead sources. Data points means it's not just the age, name, birthday, address, email. They even have a little bit of information about like what type of life insurance they're looking for, what current medical conditions they have, best time to call them. They even include an IP address, so it's a real lead that the lead came on. Typically, sometimes it'll be fake, but there's refunds and whatnot. So it's an ongoing, ever-changing prospecting when it comes down to leads. The biggest thing with the lead marketer, and we've had interviews with them. This is the real scenario that happened to them. They do well, right? They market, they get you the right clients, they get you high intent clients. but there's a cap and sometimes there's a ceiling. If you do so well and how big FFL is, if I'm having good success with this one lead vendor and I tell Joanne, and then Joanne tells someone else, and then the other person tells someone else, well, now this lead vendor is feeling the pressure to perform. That may be based on their marketing skills and their ability and the way they can track how Facebook and internet marketing works. They're able to generate maybe 50 leads a month for me. But now there's 4 agents requesting that, and now they got to generate 200 leads. And then let's say we have some big budget people that are saying I want 200 leads. So that means I want 50 leads a week. So now they have to scale at a level where they may not be able to market enough. Okay. And so what would happen is, in the marketing standpoint, instead of marketing saying, hey, are you looking for life insurance? They might have to throw a little bit of a fish lure that generates more leads to come in, which means the lead quality can start going down.
Yeah.
It starts to have diminishing returns. So it's a mix. It's an ongoing, ever changing, evolving thing. What's happening now in the lead source, most of these lead vendors, they're getting smart. They're having systems in place, what's called a Go High Level app. And it's an auto texter. So instead of just providing leads, they even have services where they'll put into their Go High Level. Well, they'll verify, they'll try to do an auto text, they'll try to do a booked appointment for you, and they sell their system and their process into it. Because at the end of the day, it's just marketing, right? You're finding clients that looks for life insurance, but how can we get and fine tune that from their perspective? How can we fine tune this to where it's a profitable lead for you to continue to do business with them? And how can they do it in a secretive, not so much secretive sauce way, but where you need them instead of you doing it on your own? Right. So they need to have that specialty where they can provide a good value and good service. They need to have that fine tune where they can still get their cut, where it doesn't take too much out of their expenses to still give you a good quality lead for a good competitive rate. Right. Because you see it out there, there's leads out there like $25, $30 for a final expense lead. And then you see one for $11, $12. Well, which one's which if you can sell? So it's an ongoing thing. It's an experimental thing. But I just wanted to give you my full spectrum on it because, yeah, we like to buy leads, and I still want to make sure I'm buying leads that are going to give me some sales.
Yeah. So in
Correct.
total, John, like how many vendors do you in particular use to just have a busy schedule? Like how many vendors do you use?
Okay. So at the end of the day, you want to play around with your numbers, and then your numbers are going to make a difference. Your territory will make a difference. Okay. So for one, I personally have about 39 states. Okay. So I have 39 states that I'm appointed with or I'm licensed in, which means if I do telesales, I can go to a lead vendor and tell them, here's all my 39 states, find me leads there, which means it'll be easier for that lead vendor to get me as many leads as I want. Now, if you only have 1 or 2 states, well, now they only got to market to that state, or they can only funnel leads for you in that state, right? So for me, I do age leads. I do a mail mortgage lead. It's called Lead Concepts, where they mail you. Sometimes it's pricey, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a hit and miss. But I did make a sale last week from it. It's a big sale. It's 2.5 families off of one client. But what Lead Concepts does, they do a mailer for all refinance, all new homes, and all equity lines. Anybody they target, they send them a mail. You're paying for the postage. Whatever comes back, comes back. That's what your leads are. So if I spent $600 and I got 6 leads, those 6 leads are $100 each.
Yeah.
They're not even presentations yet.
Yeah.
So I have that, and then I have so age leads. I have that. I have P of A, and I have EOR marketing. Right, and then I still have my old CRM leads that I continue to have.
And you still do social media, and you're still
Social media now. Since I have a dialer, I am also doing, because I've been in the business for a while, I'm doing 1-year follow-ups. Yeah, so 1-year annual reviews, and then in those, I got to sell out of that from my client that already has a big policy with me because she just bought a new home. So you want to make sure you have enough of a schedule, and that's something for you to go back to, Jason. You have some clients. It's a good idea to just touch upon these clients and just call them and say, hey, let's do a policy review. Quick phone call. How's everything? Here's your policy. Maybe you let it lapse. Let's get you a new one.
And to feed off of what you're just saying right now to Jason, there is a report on your HCMS that you guys can pull that does give you specifics as to all the policies that you still have in the book with Family First Life. So that's another thing that you can
Wow.
go ahead and
Okay.
pull up the your book of business with FFL and HCMS and your reports, and that should give you
Yeah.
some leads to call
You should have some,
some of your clients that you can probably follow back up on.
it should be under stats.
Oh, and there,
And the stats in the CRM.
No, on either HTMS or your gateway.
or your gateway. On
Okay.
the, you know, where you have up on the top right-hand corner, you guys have little squares up there, kind of like an apps
Yeah. What's good about it?
widget there.
Yeah, so look at your gateway. Easiest to go to your gateway is just go familyfirstlife.com, do an agent login. Your login is the same login as your HTMS, and play around with that with your app, with your stats and your apps.
Yeah.
The best thing about it with Americo, when you get a client, whether you sign him up or you ended up canceling because you did the middle part where you did the prescription verification, and then it says declined, or it says, you know, approved for guaranteed issue only, it'll appear on your stats. So
it was
if you
declined,
yes, if you withdrew an app, you incomplete it, you canceled it, they bought and they lapsed, all of those will show up. So what's great about it with my caller, I just told her, just call them all.
yeah.
Right. And then so I've had clients that lapse policies 2-3 months. She's just calling in randomly. She doesn't know him. She says, hey, I'm calling you for a policy review. Go see him again. Now it could be a 5-minute conversation, which sometimes has. And I tell them, hey, look, you lost your policy. Let's get you back. Or they tell you, I'm not ready, but I want it back in 2 months or 3 months. Now you have a future follow-up lead. So I think for us, the biggest thing is you want to look mindset wise is to stay busy, but stay busy having conversations with people. And it's going to be a conversation of future sales, or at least you deleted that, that possible dead lead.
Prospect, yeah.
And can I ask you this, John?
Sure.
So what are the rates going for the dialers now nowadays? Like, do you have one like from the Philippines, or you have like this side of the pond? How much are the dialers going for a day?
So typically, like, yeah, so if you have a Filipino VA, the hardest part for them is being able to have good connection and also being able to call at your time frame. Okay, so typically they range around $6 to $7 an hour. I pay mine 10. I've had my VA though for 3 years, just like an assistant, right? So she does the additional executive things for me now. But yeah, before what happened was I got her through a main VA manager through FFL. But what had happened was FFL, the main manager was paying, I was paying the main manager $11, but she was paying her, undercutting her like $6. I've had her for 2 years. She only had like $6.50. She got like a 25-cent raise per year. But the lady, the head one was like getting paid $4 extra. Yeah. And so she did quit because she said she found a different position for $10. And then my issue with that, I had to look for another one, and then things didn't turn out well. One lady had like mental breakdowns, couldn't get rejection out the way. The other lady was like, yeah, there's always a storm happening because in the Philippines, there's multiple islands. There's always a hurricane. So she had no reception, no internet. And then sometimes you would get one with like multiple kids. They got to take their kids to go to school and whatnot. So you got to find the right one. And once you have the right one, you got to pay them. So I would recommend it, but I wouldn't recommend it until you find the right one, because it's going to be a lot of trial and error. And you got to know what to teach them, because sometimes they're going to come in blank, and if you don't know how to call, how are you going to teach them how to call? You can't just give them the leads and say, hey, I paid you for this, and provide, come through.
Yeah. Would you say it's easier for someone to get a VA after they've been like doing the calls and they've kind of like plugged into what's happening?
Yes.
And they're busy enough to get a VA to help them out?
Yes. Yeah. It should be, it shouldn't be a crutch. It should be an extra help.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I would consider it. And actually I have her on live dial still on Mondays and Thursdays. I see her on. Her name is Gracial. She's in there. But yeah, so it's like a 16-hour difference out there. So she comes in at 8 a.m. Here, Pacific time, it's like 2 a.m. at her time.
Wow.
They got to be down.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think for you, I think initially, if you've taken a step away from it, let's start implementing you getting back into the flow of things, live dials, just dialing again, surrounding yourself in the fire, and let's get you rolling from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Are you gonna be in convention? Are you gonna be there tomorrow or Wednesday? I know you're in the area. Well, kind of like Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Right?
no. No, me and Al talk about I need to get back to work, man. So I'm probably gonna miss you guys this time.
It's all good.
We'll
But
be on the
yeah.
live dials anyway, so you can join us on there.
Okay, definitely.
I'm glad to hear you from you, Jason. It's our year this year, brother.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Carlos, Andrea, Sylvie, any other questions? Can't see the other
David.
one. David?
Yeah, I got a question.
Sure.
So with IULs, because
Okay.
I've been doing a little bit. I had somebody, like a friend, ask me the other day about the IULs. I was kind of looking at them. I'm kind of familiar with like Mutual Omaha. I don't know what other companies doing. It's somebody. It said to get back with them. Where would you recommend I direct them with the IUL?
Okay. So let's start off. How old is your client, and what are they looking to do? Are they looking for a bigger death benefit because they're older, or are they young and they're looking for like a cash accumulation, or is it for their kids?
Yeah, it's they're young, 33.
Okay.
Cash, yeah, so yes, I would assume cash accumulation. Like they saw something on TikTok and it was like, oh, the IUL, that could work. So
Nice. Okay. And then, do you know their budget?
I do not know the
Okay.
budget. I haven't got before.
Okay, so that's the next step. So first and foremost, we have multiple carriers that does IUL. I think it's on Gateway now too. You can do an Ask a Specialist off of Gateway without without having to log on to FFL AMS. But we have a main website. It's called FFL AMS for Advanced Market Sales. To get logged in, you do need an Athene account. Usually, that's where I would direct you to go to ask a specialist for an illustration. But on Gateway, they have one as well. So you want to find out what they want to do. Okay, so on IUL, from all these TikTok videos, it's a good thing. They sell a lot of the good stuff. The issue with it is that they have to overfund it for it to be that good of what they're really selling on the IUL side, on the TikTok side, because they're going to tell you you can get lifetime income, tax-free benefits, this and that. Well, you can't do that at $20 for $1 million policy, So he's young, he has years on his side. So tell him that it's a good time to get an IUL. But you got to treat it, if you want it to be like an investment, you got to treat it like an investment. You got to throw some money into this. So what's your budget? So if he just says like, I got like $50, $70, you're better off just doing Mutual of Omaha IUL Express. It'll be an IUL. It's more of like a death benefit with a little bit of a cash accumulation, but it's nothing fancy. It's going to do its job, right? Now, if he wants like a big accumulation where he says, I want to throw $500 a month, I want to throw $1,000 a month into it. At 33, he's going to have a big 6-figure income coming in by the time he retires. That's what you want to sell him on. So these type of policies, that's when we can create an illustration, figure it out. One of the great IUL companies out there is FNG. We got one with like Global Atlantic. We have a couple, NLG, Flex Life, depending on the state. So, but this is where you got to tell them, hey, you got to invest in this if you're really thinking about big stuff. If not, if you're looking at $50, $70, you're looking at a life insurance with a little bit of cash value accumulation. That's all that's going to get you.
Okay.
I think do we have a question in the chat?
Yeah, there's somebody wrote on the chat, but we can't see. We're like 10 feet away from the screen.
Oh, that was me. I just, I wanted to, I think I got that answered if you go onto the,
Grouping?
the group
Oh,
question.
Okay.
Because you
What
could.
was the
I guess-
answer?
Well, I didn't go on there yet, but it was
I got you.
basically like policies for folks, a 33-year-old female with type 1 diabetes. It's hard to find a carrier that's going to cover that. And
Are they insulin dependent?
No,
So just pills.
I'm sorry. Did you say insulin independent?
No,
Insulin dependent. Yeah, they take insulin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. How long have they had it? Since they were like teens or like born
16.
with it? 16?
16, yeah.
Yeah. So it's usually hard for insulin dependent. NLG, if you do have NLG, what's great about NLG, they do have a substandard policy.
Mm-hmm.
So I like using them. I would call in for a risk assessment first if you already
Okay.
have NLG and let them know
Okay.
the situation. What's great about NLG, let me just repeat it. It's like a fully underwritten plan, but doesn't require a physical exam. So they have a standard, select, preferred, elite for the better rating for a healthy individual, and that applies for their term and that applies for their whole life. I mean, flex life, which is their IUL. But they have two below standard rates. They call it the NT1 and NT2. So the difference, NT1 is twice the price of a standard rate, NT2 is 3 times the price of a standard rate. So it's decent.
Okay.
You can get them approved even though they're type 1 diabetic. Another one would be Foresters. Foresters has a strong foundation policy. It's a term policy, simplified issue as well. And they created a diabetic questionnaire or a diabetic little risk assessment. So I'll send you the link for it. I think
Thank you. My next question is, I'm growing my following on social media, and I come across people that are saying, like, these are very notable people, and they're saying it's a scam. And I found an article, IULs. I found an article that explains how it's a scam. And you're looking at the numbers, and I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't perform as well as an index fund. And so I wanted to kind of ask if I'm, and then I did a policy because I'm trying to get content on children, and I'm looking, why don't these numbers perform better than they should? And I don't know if I'm structuring it wrong, but
okay. You want to go in a little bit in detail? Which carrier did you use?
I went with NLG, and it was for a 5-year-old. Funding at $300 a month, and after 25 years, that money goes to like 134,000.
Okay, for the withdrawals.
Surrender cash value.
The cash value is only 100,000 in 25 years.
135,000. And I'm like, maybe I'm doing this wrong.
That is very wrong.
That's bad. It's horrible. And anyway,
you're doing it wrong.
Okay. Okay. And so
I can help you run some illustrations too. FNG has some decent ones.
Yeah.
I have a 5-year-old, so I was like, that's totally off.
I know. My kids. I before I learned about this, I got a VUL for my kid, and theirs is going at 300,000. But that's, again, volatility of the market.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, so this one article, and I could share it, but it's I'll share it in the chat. And he explains how instead of indexing the performance of the stock market index and those numbers and he looked at previous 20 years. And so a lot of these charts that these illustrations provide are the past 20 years, but he goes beyond that and explains the numbers. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look as good. I'm going to share this link in the chat. And so, yeah, so like, how do you address people that say on your profile, it's a scam? Yeah, other than the obvious delete and move on. But I want to.
How do you respond to them?
Yeah.
So first, there's trolls on the internet. is this a conversation or is it a troll, right? If it's a troll, don't even bother deleting it.
No, they're the host of the chat feed. And
Wow, okay.
yeah.
Okay, so at that point, so this is the real conversation then. Here's where they're coming from, and here's how they feel it's a scam. The reason why is they want maximum accumulation. Okay, so if you were to go on index fund, let's say you put $300 on the index fund, all of your $300 is invested.
Yeah.
If you do $300 on the IUL, there's a cost of insurance in that, and a portion of the $300 gets invested, depending on the cost of insurance on the individual. Now, the younger the kid is, that cost of insurance will be so much cheaper. Yeah. But if you did a comparison to somebody, let's say on his instance now, he's talking about, okay, I got a job, I may be in my mid 30s, 40s, I have a sustained income, I pay my bills, now I want to do an investment. Well, his cost of insurance to do a $300 plan, it might cost $250 of it. So it's not as a good of a number comparison, right? But two, the purpose of the IUL is for a tax-free withdrawal. If you die too early, there's a life insurance component. If you want to withdraw, you don't have to pay it back. You don't have to pay Uncle Sam. So yes, he is going to get some higher accumulation if he does all index funds. But what about when you withdraw that? What about if you die within the first year and you only have maybe 3,600 into it versus you get the full death benefit immediately, right? And so it's a totally different example. And not to mention, even if it's an index fund, look at the market and look what happened last year. It's still volatile. It's still going to be predicted based on the market, and it could be subject to loss. Where with an IUL, depending on the IUL product, it'll have a 0% floor, it'll have a 2% floor. So it won't lose too much. So it's a totally different thing. It's like buying gold and buying Bitcoin conversation type stuff. Because first off, he doesn't have a license. Most likely he's only comparing averages of return.
Yeah. And the whole, I think there's just so many different variables to each individual's perspective in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And ultimately I think it's like important for like our agents to know that like you guys do have more knowledge than like the people that are commenting on these, commenting on your social media and stuff like that. Most of the time I feel like people comment because they lack education when they're so like that's why it gets really like, I don't know, maybe like don't feed into it, but if you can educate them, or maybe send them a DM educating them.
Yeah. So if it's a conversation, that's what I'm saying. Is it a troll or a conversation? If it's a conversation, then we'll have time to expand on it. If he's not trying to listen, it's not going to go anywhere, right? But speaking of convention,
but that's good. Any the good thing about it is that she's getting them to engage in her content. So like, yay for you.
So that's
like the goal.
I would try to one up them. So speaking of convention, Tom Hegna, he's one of the guys that's like super into annuities, super into life. He's like a life insurance advisor. He's written a bunch of books. One of his words he would say is called the sequence of returns risk. Okay, so you can bring that up to him. It's like, you ever heard of the sequence of returns risk, even if you have an investment? Okay, so sequence of returns risk is, let's say you built that up and you got 200,000 with your index funds. If the market tanks and you lost 50%, okay, how many more years do you need when you're ready to retire to recover just to break even? If you lost 50%, you need to double 100% to get it back. And how many years can you do that? So that is the sequence of returns, the years to recover. Well, when you have a floor, you won't have to worry about that. You eliminate that risk, because if the market tanks 50%, well, guess what? You don't lose principal. You're just at zero. So you can continue to grow again in the future. So there's these other variables that can help out. And this is where he talks about, like, this is when you're ready to retire. You're not trying to accumulate anymore. You want to put into annuity, so you're fixed. You don't lose principal too much, and you're set. So these little things could be a conversation if we're really having a conversation. If not, yeah, he's one of those, like, get out of here, man. You don't know what you're talking about. But if you can educate a little bit, get people to see something or hear something new that they've never heard of, oh, okay, maybe you're speaking something. But yeah, let's work on your kid's 5-year-old's illustration.
I wanted to do it as an example, and I think I've I gotta delete that post then because it's not
Yeah, yeah.
performing as
I
great.
can send you an example of one I'm doing for my brother-in-law's sister.
Okay, thank you.
They just had a baby. They have a 1-year-old and they just had another baby, and she makes decent money. She wants to spend between $300 to $500 on the kid. And I showed her
Yeah.
one with FNG. Okay. What
Okay.
she wants to do is she wants to stop making payments by the time they're age 20, which is decent. They can continue to pay more. But her mind state was, I want to start withdrawals earlier. So I want to stop making payments at 20 and I want the kid to start getting something by age 30. And I showed her, here's what they'll have at age 30, here's what they'll have at age 50. And for $300 a month paid for 18, 20 years, the kid's going to have like $3,000 to $4,000 a month as a lifetime income until they're 80 plus, starting at the age of 30. And she liked that fact because now it's like an additional thing on top of whatever they're going to do. It's a free 3,000. That's a free mortgage payment, basically.
Literally.
But I told her, if you do like wait till 50, it's going to be like 60,000. It's going to be double. You wait till like 65, 70 retirement age, it's going to be within like 154,000 plus per year. That's an annual withdrawal. And that's something you can set up for your kids for $300 a month and on the bare minimum for only 18, 20 years. If she pays more, it's even better. So think about the compounding interest where you don't have to do it anymore. And indexing will work too. But remember, anytime you take out, you're subject to taxes. Those are income gains. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you. Yes. My next question, unless is I've been told that instead of instead of maximize cash value to solve for target, and then tell the client to max fund it so that you get more, so you're not locked into the price. What's the strategy there? Is that a wise thing to tell people?
This is an illustration strategy. I think that it gets confusing when so I do this often too. Like I would call the carrier. This is the same thing I did to that client. Here's what they want to pay. Here's how old the kid is. What do I do? Right? They'll tell you this. They do cash accumulation value test or regular. They tell you, do you want to do increasing? Do you want to do it level? It's per carrier. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But most of the time, if it's a young individual, it's going to be max funded no matter what. Right. But yeah, so there's a way where initially what they did, she told me this. I forgot how she mentioned it. You max fund it at an increasing level, and then you change it from target A to target B when you stop making payments on it. That's how she did it. So it lowers the cost of the insurance in the future because increases the cost of insurance. So something like that. It's crazy. There's ways you can always change it. That's what's great about an IUL. It's called the flexible premium adjustable life. And then per year, you can do change of strategies. So there's no wrong or right way to do it. As soon as you sell them, you did it right. Anybody have any other questions? We got about 3 more minutes.
I just had like a minor question. I know you was mentioning the F and G and
Yes.
then the NLG. I was looking on there. I don't think I have those as carriers. How could I go about looking into that?
Great question. Great question. I'll let Joanne answer.
Yeah. So for F&G, IUL and annuity, for that particular carrier, they do require you to have a piece of business to submit. So when you have a piece of business or you have a potential client, you can just go ahead and email me directly at joanne@eliteFFL.com and request that that contract. And then for NLG, same thing. You can just go ahead and email me directly to joanne@eliteFFL.com, and then I'll go ahead and I'll shoot you over, or I'll request the carrier for you, and then you guys should receive it in email around 1 to 2 days for NLG. So NLG will be sent over to you from home office via Pangea, the portal. You'll receive that through email. You submit your contract through there, and Usually right now, honestly, it's taking anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to get NLG to issue out writing numbers. So if you have somebody or, have some business pending, just go ahead and let me know, and then I'll request them for you, Carlos.
Okay.
Yeah. So these type of companies are called advanced market sales, AMS products. FNG, NLG, Athene for
Global Atlantic.
annuities, Global Atlantic, Sagicor, Lafayette, all these companies. We have with FFL for the main carriers, we have HCMS that's streamlined, makes it easier, and Insure LC. But for the advanced market sale, we have a separate division with FFL AMS in Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and Navi is the one in charge of that, and they have a team as well. But their team is smaller than the streamlined process, so it does take some time. And to save money too, and the contracting and like administrative work, they want it when a new agent has a policy. So that way we don't just like request 30 companies and carriers and appointment fees for nothing. And that's the reason why it's taking a little while.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? We have about 1 minute.
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So one of my questions is, because I'm new on the industry.
Right.
Oops, looks like I froze.
Yeah.
It's okay. We can still hear you.
I'm new in the industry and I have been with other companies, one company actually. So I'm still trying to get a hang of getting to know the product and how to properly guide the client into selecting, the right product for them. Is there something here that facilitates that specific scenario as far as like I have this client that has diabetes, whatever, how do I go from that? Or is that something that we have to kind of do on our own to memorize or get to know a little bit more the study guides?
Yeah, we okay. So we make it easy. So brand new agents will always be confused because we have like 30 carriers, right? Which one did we use? Where do we go? What do I? 3 main companies you want to get really, really comfortable with. 3 companies and 6 total products, right? So it's Americo, AIG, and Prosperity, right? So with Americo, we have 2 main products. It's for final expense between 50 to 85, you can use Eagle Premier. Okay. Now, if you want to do cashback option, which is the term with the return to premium, that's when you would use Americo's CBO. And that's for anyone 20 all the way up to 75 plus. Okay. So that's what's great about them. Second, for AIG, they have it's a final expense product. It's called Simplified Issue Whole Life, which is a level plan or a graded plan. And then they have the second product, which is the graded Guaranteed Issue Whole Life Plan, GIWL. This is for products for anybody that's completely like seriously sick, right? They have cancer, they're on a deathbed, they have currently going through treatment, they had a heart attack yesterday, they have AIDS, HIV, anything that's completely uninsurable, that's when you would use the Guaranteed Issue Whole Life because there's no medical questions to ask. Okay. So if you got somebody that's telling you they're on oxygen tank, they're on dialysis, automatic AIG. So that's when it's the end all be all type of product to use, but that's only for ages 50 to 80. And then the third company, which is really good, Prosperity. They have 3 main products. One is for final expense. And then don't worry about it if I'm going too fast. This is going to be recorded. You guys can watch this again on YouTube. But for Prosperity, their final expense is called eVista. What's great about this, for anyone 50 to 80, it approves them on the spot 100% of the time, instant decision. So it'll tell you what medication is throwing it off, and then it has a rating from a level plan, graded plan, modified plan. Then they have a level simplified issue term called Family Freedom Term, up to 500,000. Very, very lenient underwriting. So it's almost like underwriting like a final expense. Okay. Not available in California though. So if you're in California, forget it. And then lastly, their prime term. Prime term is similar to like AIG's Guaranteed Issue Whole Life for anyone 40 and up. It's a 3-year graded plan where it pays out in increments as they get older, but it's built like a term. So hopefully those 3 will take care of everything else from, I would say 98%, 99% of the time. If there's any issues, With the other 1%, it'll be like an advanced market. And then that's when you would contact us on GroupMe. But the simplest way is, number one, don't worry about the product. Worry about getting in front of a client. Once you're in front of a client, on the Google Drive, there's a needs analysis or called a field presentation folder. You'll do a final expense or mortgage protection needs analysis. You get that filled out. You text us on the GroupMe. You text your direct upline and you tell them, okay, this is what the client has. This is what they're looking for. You'll have everyone, even from the live dials and the GroupMe, responding, telling you, go with this company, go with that company. So you won't have any issues and mistakes.
Okay, got it. Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah. So first and foremost, get carriers, right? Get appointed. Once you're appointed, go to that website for that carrier to learn how to do a demo application. They usually have what's called a sandbox or demo app. So it's dummy proof. You can't make a mistake. You can't continue it if you made a mistake. But as long as you can go through that part, you're set, because you just need to get in front of a client and know how to do an app, and everything else will take care of it.
Okay.
Does Mutual of Omaha have a demo app? Because I know you have to go through WinFlex.
WinFlex is for illustrations, but if you're going to do an app, you want to go to the Mutual of Omaha website itself and then click on electronic applications and then do life apps. I think I saw a demo sandbox, but don't quote me on that, because yeah, you can play around with it, but typically no.
Is there any issue if, like, when it comes to WinFlex, like, I feel like I wasn't sure who to ask questions other than my obvious upline.
Yeah.
But like, if you had questions in the wee hours of the morning, you just want to be able to access something that shows you what to use in WinFlex. Is there something like that?
So yeah, WinFlex is a third-party program. Each carrier has their own illustration software. I only like using WinFlex when I'm on the phone, because it's perfect on the iPhone, but I typically use the illustration per carrier. Yeah.
So when it comes to Mutual of Omaha, can I just use the Mutual of Omaha page versus WinFlex?
No. So you have to use WinFlex for Mutual of Omaha's illustration. Yeah. FNG, Global Atlantic, they have their illustration websites, but Mutual, I guess they rely on WinFlex.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we're all good. Thanks for joining us, guys. So this will be on Friday. It will be saved on the YouTube. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Every Monday we'll be on at 11:15. So we'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye, guys.
Have a good one.